Welcome to this reading and intuitive channeling. I said that I'd come with more energy. There's so much, like I said, to talk about regarding 2026 and what we have on our hands in terms of the potential. I really hope that you are not trying to rush into anything. I hope that you're not trying to kickstart, hit the ground running. I hope you are not trying to wear any kind of mentality or perception that you haven't checked in with yourself first about. There is so many opinions and advice and I don't know, whatever the fuck else floating all around the internet about this year, like I said earlier. And I've been mentioning this, I guess mostly to myself, that the last thing that you honestly should be doing, even with regards to what I offer, is taking other people's truths as your own, just absorbing it in without putting it through like an admin process at the gate, you know? The main thing that inspired this, me being here, is the frequency of like bitterness or a kind of apathy or despondency, very Four of Cups coded. Wonder if I can find it in the deck. Oh, I found it like instantly. Very much this. Bearing in mind the amount of potential that's around right now and how much that potential is waiting for us to use it, you know? It's all there. This stance and way of being is particularly dangerous for this time. Dangerous. But it's also part of the story. You'll know, you know. But I highly recommend against this and specifically to my water sign placements and more specifically to my 8th house Plutonian Scorpionic placements. And and Aquarians. Those two signs, in my opinion, speaking again as a tropical Scorpio, are very prone to victimhood and very prone to this kind of perception and not being able to see the light in situations, not being able to more specifically, find a sense of hope from within. I think that a lot of people are being challenged with this so that they can learn and refine that skill of being better at pulling yourself out of not just the state, a general state of apathy or just like a meh, but even out of states of like depression and darkness and so on that will still come. That is all part of the deal of life. We need to start holding that in mind more often so that we can process things easier. And so that after that processing, we can align more quicker to what our truths are, which is super important for this year. That scenario of bitterness, the frequency of bitterness and apathy in this thing that I'm feeling into, I feel more specifically has to do with people who are dreading returning back to work and aren't trying to inquire more about the signal that is about the way they're living their lives right now. It sounds very woo-woo, very delusional, very irresponsible, impulsive, whatever the fuck you want to call it, when I suggest that you start listening to the way that you feel. Because I know, and I've mentioned this in previous channelings or readings, that there's this line that people say about sticking to the plan and not to your feelings. I think that's how it goes. I really don't believe in that line. I really think that it's not productive to the work that we are doing now as a human consciousness. Our feeling centers are lighting up in the various ways that they are, through depression, through apathy, through whatever's happening in our lives, so that we can pay attention to it and start following it more. I think that that is a very counterproductive idea to follow. I think some part of it is true, but I think you have to do it in balance, especially right now when I think your feelings are most important. I feel like it needs to be emphasized over and over again. Your heart center is the most important place in your entire universe to listen into, to prioritize, to give life to, and know that it, like, acknowledge it as a thing that is like, that is living, that has its own feedback, it has its own information. There's a conversation rotating around Twitter about the possibility of how your thoughts aren't just like, what was it? Your thoughts aren't just thoughts. They are, they come from a space before your observation. So they come from somewhere, you know? Hi, you can't ask any questions in this live stream. So that idea, sorry, now I have to ground myself again. How thoughts come before you. I don't even know why I mentioned that, but trying to recollect myself now. No, I don't know. I no longer know. That really, that really threw me off. I'm sorry. I should have stayed more focused. But I want to focus on, like I said, the main energy that inspired me. Bitterness from a collective that is not enjoying their work, quite frankly. And you have normalized the sensation of waking up in the morning feeling absolutely miserable about needing to get this bread and doing it, pushing past it and doing it anyway. That act, just that little performance specifically, I need to repeat it so that you can understand how much energy is being put into it, how much energy is being essentially wasted. It's crazy. You wake up in the morning, and I know the sensation. I know that at least people tuning into my work understand the sensation of feeling incognitive, that you need to do something and that you, like, something needs to happen. You need to carry an action out. But physically, energetically, you are not present for it. It's as if you are being pushed down. Like there's an energy pushing you. Like when you wake up in the morning for work, like there's an energy pushing you back into bed. And I'm trying to be as connected to the sensation as possible. And all of that, making the sensation true. Like you have to understand, your reality, the way you perceive reality is so closely connected and overlapping to what objective reality is. We need to start integrating that into our reality, that there's not that much of a difference between objective and subjective. There's an area where they blend. That blending is, I can say it over and over again. That's what's happening right now. And the point is, in that blending, we have to respect the way that we feel. And it's no mistake that as a collective, we are all really hating work. We are hating the idea of capitalism. We're hating, like, the systems of moving money around, our government bodies, all of that stuff. The system's crumbling. You would be shocked, even with people who think that they work for, like, NGO coded companies that are kind and that are altruistic, you will be surprised by how many of these companies and their business practices are involved in absolutely anti-kind, anti-life actions and other businesses. Like, the system that is crumbling, it's crumbling at the same time we're feeding it by investing our energy, waking up every morning and going against our sensations and our physical body's messages, going against that. And I'm not saying you must just wake up and like, well, you know what? Honestly, I am, but I know how crazy and irresponsible that suggestion is. So you take it with your own discretion. It's just been a crime of the spirit. I've said this before, a true crime of the soul and of human essence to continue to do things that feel so deeply draining at this point. And obviously, you're going to react to that. Obviously, it's not going to end at you waking up in the morning feeling so deeply exhausted, pushing past that exhaustion and going to do whatever anyway, going to work anyway, showing up for this job you feel in your heart you are so tired by. It's not just going to end there. It's obviously going to carry on in your energetic field, in your behavior, in your perceptions, that life is written for you to be so tired for 90% of the time. Like, it's, I couldn't begin to describe, there are no words to explain how crazy that is, and how from God's eyes it really doesn't need to happen. So many of us are torturing ourselves for no reason. And I think for many reasons, this is going to be through many stories and experiences and ways of, like, through many ways that the story will unfold. People are going to be extremely bitter and angry at their lives for the way that they treat their lives. It feels very repeated, the rhetoric of what would you do, how would you act, and how would your perceptions shift? How would your perceptions shift if you were told that you have this finite amount left to live? Or if you were told that you only have 1 week, what would you do in that week? What frequency would you adopt? How would you behave around people? How would you treat your own self? Why aren't you doing it now? Because you technically don't know whether or not you have a week left. You could very well have a week left to live. You know what I mean? You really could have a week left to live. and you really would still choose waking up every day tired as entire fuck, doing this thing that you don't really know why you're doing, but hey man, you need the money. Like, no one is going to feel sorry for those people anymore. There's going to be a very clear separation between people who have this, Aisha, I need the money, I don't know what else I'm going to do, versus I've got a mission and it's about the mission. It doesn't matter anything else. I've got a mission, you know? Maybe if you were earning money and you held, I don't know, you held a certain other kind of mission, maybe switching perceptions will help people who are in that position and who don't know. Not maybe, obviously switching perceptions would help, but it's the act of how you do it. Like, I can't get over that specific feeling of a lot of people being so angry at the world because they're working jobs they don't like. That specific one. Because they're living lives, because they are forced Also due to systemic pressures to make decisions that do not at all align with what they truly, truly feel. And I can't unfocus on how dangerous that's going to be for people around who are none the wiser to what you're going through. You know, it's going to be more useful than it ever has to remember that people are going through their own shit and it has nothing to do with you. I'm also feeling into like a lot of meanness because of this bitterness, a lot of meanness expressed out, you know, a lot of like, I guess I'm only mentioning this because I'm not used to experiencing that, being a person of color in South Africa. We're very big on like, we're very big on we behave like Leos, essentially. And what I'm feeling into is a kind of like, okay, generally anyone who's used to radiating out light, people who are used to greeting people and saying hi, you know what I mean? People are used to like sharing joy. That's gonna go in. Necessarily so because some people genuinely don't deserve your joy and that radiation. And some people are really gonna act up, like they're gonna show that, you know? Obviously, everybody deserves love. Everybody deserves joy, love, and radiation. But I think this year, and maybe I'm also speaking as a Plutonian, I think it's useful to be exclusive and to choose who you be very intentional about who you radiate your joy to, you know, about who you like choose to open up to, who you choose to help. That's also very important. Be very discerning about who you choose to help. That's a specific one. And it again speaks to the danger I felt empaths are in, the caring and the extension of your energy and your love and compassion, the reckless doing so, you know, doing so without first vetting whether or not this is a situation, you know, just vetting the moment out. It could get you into a lot of really unnecessary trouble. And then you're probably liable to take the trouble personally, like it's a you thing, and it's really not. It's just the amount of energy that's present in life right now. Like I said, there's just so much. There's just so much energy, so much. Not just like I'm saying, like the world, like the astrological weather is saying, like other channelers are saying, like scientists are saying, you know, like the world is showing. There's so much going on. Okay, I think I'm ready to do the reading now. That's the only energy I wanted to touch on, and it felt urgent, especially to share with sensitive people and the feelers. I hope this full moon is treating you well. I'm recording this on a full moon, the first, I believe, full moon of the year, actually, and we're a few days away from a very important astrological conjunction in the sky. I think I will link a video to discuss that and the vibes. Stefan Burns, my fave. He's been very helpful as well in like validating the emotional and physical sensations that life has been bringing to us collectively over the past few months. He, like I said, I've mentioned in previous videos, is very objective, scientific, logical about the energy shifts, and he follows the patterns of the geographical shifts and analyze them with solar flares. He's just a really interesting scientist. It's very cool what he does. I'm going to start shuffling now, see what the cards have to say. Oh, just to close off what I offered in the intuitive channeling. This means now more than ever, you need to focus on your joy. It is true that no one is coming to save you. You are going to save yourself, and you're going to be so amazed, I think, by how easy it's been to save yourself the entire time. It's always been you. Stay away from people who contradict themselves without awareness. So people who another pattern that I've been seeing pretty much since this year started is people creating their own problems and then complaining about the problems. I saw a story about somebody who essentially assigned themselves so it's like someone waking up in the morning and telling themselves, writing a list and saying, I need to do this today. I need to do it today. But forgetting that, like, standing back and realizing you're in control of your day, actually. So you don't really need to, or like rather check the boundaries of what you really need to do. You know what I mean? People are so tight on themselves. Like I said in previous, it's too tight. It is just too tight. It's too much. God can't work with this kind of constriction, you know? And this kind of, I need to control everything. Things need to go this way. This needs to happen. Anyway. So much to say. Pull for 3. Okay, I love that. We have the Page of Cups in reverse as the opening card. And then we have the Star, the Page of Discs, and the 9 of Discs. Yay, I'm seeing that for the first time. That's so beautiful. I'm going to read the Page of Cups in reverse. This card speaks of a siren call into a psychic neverland, fear of vulnerability or failure, leading to withdrawal, stultification, failure, blocked sexuality, causing eating disorders and other problems, ferocious hidden anger and denial, emotional immaturity. Yeah, so, okay, this is exactly it. This is the behavior that I'm feeling into, that's coming out from everyone because of the because we are a weekend away from people starting their economic shifts, you know, from people waking up, getting this bread or whatever. I can feel so many people miserable, deeply miserable. It's so sad because you don't have to do this. You don't have to live this way. I know it's crazy. And I know that it's very like, oh my God, but what am I going to do? But I have bills to pay, whatever. These bills, whatever earthly thing that you are concerned about right now that is highly likely linked, it's very earthly. There's a very earthly 3D matter. Yeah, the siren call into a psychic neverland. Your soul is, you are being, oh my God, how do I describe this? Part of the misery that you are feeling about returning to, let me generalize this, about returning or okay, in generalizing this, it's a frequency of somebody who is having a really tough time doing a 3D thing or existing in a 3D way, because there is an offset in your spirit. Like, you're living really in between, but you're trying to pretend like you only live in 3D by only focusing on your 3D matters and only prioritizing the bills and the bread and the dada and the kiki, entirely neglecting the sense of your spirit, your consciousness, the remembrance that you're not just this 3D machine. You're not just this human flesh. You are an infinite amount more than that. Infinite. Like, there is no limit to the true essence of what you are. So worrying about bills, you know, it doesn't make any sense. It can make sense on whatever level people choose to exist in terms of the way they like pursue adulthood, maturity. But with this card mentioning a sense of immaturity, it's like something that I grappled with processing in my journey into adulthood is how many people are fake adults. How many people are faking their grown-upness through the act of having a job, having responsibilities, having monthly debit orders, but in who they are and in what you see, this is not a grown person. This is not a mature person at all. This is somebody who truly struggles to apply their will because they don't understand how closely their will is linked to their inner world, which they're ignoring. Yeah, this is a neglect of the inner world. And this is a direct instruction to choose anew. You have to do something different and something that feels more aligned with your joy and with who you truly feel you are. You have a sense of it. And I'm telling you, part of that sense of it is exactly why you may be feeling tired, in between worlds, weird dreams, like you can't sleep or you're oversleeping. Like it mentioned, disorders. I don't remember whether or not it mentioned a leaning towards addiction. Yeah, eating disorders and other problems. Ferocious hidden anger and denial. Emotional immaturity. That is always largely linked with the suppression, some kind of holding in, an unnecessary tightness. It doesn't need to happen. The more you hold in, the more you try to wake up every day and push it against these sensations that are saying, I'm tired of doing this. I don't want to do this anymore. The more your inner light, your inner world, your inner soul is going to push back. And honestly, for me, when I went through this shit, it drove me insane. It literally drove me crazy. And I'd rather be driven crazy, in my own space, whatever space I can be afforded, which I've been trusting the entire time through the universe and through people who love me. Like, that's part of the price that you pay as somebody who lives in between worlds. And I know I'm reading for somebody who lives in between worlds, but who is really trying to deny that. You have to accept that you are not just a human, that you are energy, consciousness, and that some level of your energy or consciousness is trying to communicate with you right now. And honestly, it's trying to tell you that you need to get a new job or start rethinking your career. Just the presence of this is giving that you have to go. You have to be willing to start from the bottom again in whatever way. I don't know what that could. You could achieve the sensation while still keeping your same 3D position, but you have to at least change your sights to understand that it's like you're being born again in a way. Yeah, you're being born again on a 3D level, on an earthly level. Birth is very, 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 very painful. It's extremely painful. Beneath the deck, you have the Hanged Man, by the way. And I tried to pick up the deck, and the Five of Rods remained behind. This position of living in between worlds and being an energetically sensitive person. I know we've been talking about it a lot, but I feel I need to emphasize it now that it's going to take a sense of surrender that is not easy. A lot of people who are on the edge of diving into the spiritual way of living, they stand from that edge and they look at it and they think, or rather, it's easy to look at anything from the outside and think, oh, that should be fine, I'm sure at this level of like being grown, you understand nothing is really that easy. Everything comes with its hardships. But specifically with the spiritual journey, I feel a lot of people deeply underestimate how difficult it is because there's a lot that cannot be said about it. There's a lot that is unwordable about living in between worlds, about being an addict, about being energetically sensitive, about having like unnamed fears, phobias, about being mentally plagued. I believe that mental illness has a lot to do with an energetic distortion. There's a lot that cannot be said about that experience that is very specific to the experience. And that has to be that has to be respected. Like, okay, through the lack of things that can be said about how it's experienced, you have to surrender because there's a lot that you cannot. There's a lot of darkness, man. There's a lot of fog to it. You can't speak on it. You can't put it out there. So it stays in here. And as a result, it's very hard to grasp. Sometimes may even be hard to see, because for a lot of people, they're very unaware of the sense of their lives. I feel again like I'm reading for someone who you live in between worlds, but you really you haven't acknowledged it, and so it's like you're unaware of it. Both are honestly, both are a danger to your energetic body. But luckily, you are in essence a very. I feel like I'm likely reading for a 12th house Pisces placement. You are essentially very connected to the divine. Like there is never any separation. Even if you perceive that there is one, there isn't. You're always so connected. You're lucky as well. You're extremely lucky. So, I just don't understand the fear to take risks or to do stuff. Like, I don't understand the insistence to, like, this is like the frequency of somebody who has a great talent, but who doesn't really know how to channel it. Like someone, like great artists of the 27 Club who were all like, well, not all, but who were largely addicted to drugs, and their stories ended with them kind of channeling their energy into the wrong thing, into drugs, into their troubled, into their pain. They channeled it into their pain versus channeling their pain into making art. And that ended up the way it ended up. It's that frequency. It's just a mismanagement of the way that energy is being channeled. Yes. Something needs to happen in you with the way that you channel your energy on a 3D level. Either through getting a new job, doing a new activity, adding a new daily activity to your daily activity log that makes you feel good, that you can feel connects you to a sense of yourself. So try to consider adding doodling, drawing, writing, or something. But okay, what I'm receiving is it has to start on the 3D first. Sorry, it has to start on the action thing first. Start from the bottom up. Don't add that daily activity from the mental space of will this make me money in the end. This is not about money. It is about money. It is about money, but it's not supposed to be about money, technically, It feels like you could start doing something right now, this year, right? You could use all of this potential available to start doing a simple activity that could end up being something, or end up having to do with something that could eventually be something you earn money with. It could earn you money. But you can't think that way now, because it's not about that right now. It's about you tapping into your truth, being more present in your life, feeling more alive and feeling more connected with the things that you do every day. And managing this, you have a lot of potential. You have a lot of energetic and spiritual power, but it's being channeled in a way that is furthering a blockage. Like there's a blockage, and whatever it is that you're doing that may be draining your energy right now is creating that blockage. It's making it bigger, sorry. It's expanding it. I don't know if I finished this idea before about how when you spend all of your days waking up and doing that and pushing against your exhaustive sensations, that's energy that's being put into the job, essentially, into the system, into this way of being that you don't like, but you're pouring more energy into it, but you don't like it. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's not making any sense, you know? Energetically, things are a little bit off kilter right now. But this, like I said, is the energy of luck. It's the energy of this can happen for you right now. There's so much of it. There's so much opportunity for joy and light. It's all like bursting at the seams. The two of these together for me present a huge inner there's so much hope. Yeah, I am getting a lot of hope. Like there's no dullness, you know, it's not a sense of dullness per se. It's just like a fogginess somehow. But again, you have two major arcanas here. Both are very divine, extremely divine energy. I mean, major arcanas are very divinely coded, but this is light to me. It's light and a little bit of the void. I love the different shapes going on in these cards as well. The spiral and these lines that are happening here. It's very expressive. Lots of movement. I love that. Definitely not boring. You're not having a boring time. It is a bit confusing though, but yeah, the hangman with the presence of the hangman, it's gonna straighten itself out. You just have to keep listening to yourself as far as you can. I think that if you dedicate enough, if you get serious about listening to yourself and listening to your intuition, you will start to feel more and more different as the days go by. And your perceptions will very naturally start to change. Keep reinforcing and affirming that you are open to listening to your intuition. This will eventually move itself upright and you'll be able to be connected to your divine, your deep sensations and messages. And you'll be able to know exactly when it's the right time to switch career paths, make a decision, resign, whatever. Sorry for the harshness that I bring into quit your job. Yeah, I think people doing things, people living their everyday lives. As human beings, we are really so full of it's not just magic. It's because magic implies that it's something beyond, it's something above or whatever. This is the power that we have and the influence that we have over our reality is a matter of science. It's a matter of fact. It's something you can research. It's something you can experience and you can do and you can prove and show to yourself that your thoughts and your incremental actions, you don't even have to do anything big. Your small little actions make a huge difference. They cause a ripple effect over your life and you have the potential to do anything from that understanding. So now from that place, I can't understand why people would still continue to do their everyday and live their every single day, pouring their time and energy into ways of being, jobs, thinking, whatever that does not align with them, that doesn't give them life, it doesn't give them energy, it doesn't excite them, it takes from them, it makes them exhausted, and they do not feel fulfilled at the end of the day. I don't understand why it's I do understand. It just feels really criminal. It feels so illegal. Jail to the system that made us believe that that's how life is. We're about to see some things this year in terms of in terms of our potential, in terms of human potential and human consciousness potential. This is also giving that you have so much you have so much consciousness potential, man. It's like you don't understand. Try the water experiment. If you can find two containers to freeze water in and speak love to the one and speak hate to the other. Freeze them, see the ice after it's frozen. Note that. Put that in your head. Understand it, what it is that you've done. You can make ugly ice and you can make beautiful ice just by your words. You don't have to do anything else, just by your words. Sometimes it can go as far as thought. If you put your finger, this is a radical one that I've never tried, but I've read enough and seen enough. If you put your finger inside a glass, inside a thing of water, and while you're doing that, a container of water, while you're doing that, hold a thought or hold an idea or a feeling. You don't even have to speak it. Freeze that water. Why on earth, after knowing what you can do and after knowing what is available for us in life, honestly, why on earth would you still choose to submit to a really boring system, a really boring way of seeing life? Life is so much more interesting. And on an energy level, you know it. You know that life is interesting. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's miraculous. It's magnificent. It's beyond. This card is also giving that it's, I'm feeling into somebody who gave into the suppressions of the system. You were magical, you were artistic, you were creative, you were all these really exciting, wonderful things, and then you were put through something. Or maybe someone said some shit to you over and over again, or they like yeah, some way of being was put into you over and over again that now you believe it and it's not at all true. Whatever that is, whatever your beliefs are, your personal beliefs about life, you understand on an energy level that it's much bigger than all of this. So you need to give into it. You need to respect those internal sensations. It's an awakening as well. This is giving an awakening, spiritual awakening that will reflect on a 3D living level. Normally happens that way. This is the card of somebody who has a psychedelic trip, realizes things about the matrix and quits their job and decides to pursue their passions. Really radical. Happens to the best of us. And really yields very delicious rewards in the end. Yeah, if you're looking for inspiration or if you're looking to understand more about how that can work out for you, please feel free to reach out to me. And I can recommend you to other people who have followed this path. Not so much taken drugs, but they followed one way of being and one way of living. They completely ignored their energetic and spiritual sensations until they were pushed against the wall. Everything exploded. They had to surrender. And they had to start focusing on their soul's purpose, so to speak. And they had to start believing that there is a soul's purpose for them. They had to open their eyes and look, They had to rebuild. And they did. And it's amazing. There's so many people. Oh my God. It's amazing. It's amazing. There's lots of information, lots of advocates for this way of living. I am definitely one of them. And I really do feel like we are all made to live much, much, much more exciting and beautiful lives than we are living right now. And we need to take 2026 as the opportunity to bring that in. It's possible. Anything is possible. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry again to everyone. I often apologize for this because I really do feel bad, and I really do love reading for people and doing the things, but it's way too much energy if I do it haphazardly and just offer like personal pull a card readings and sessions that aren't that. I have to squeeze it and be intentional and say these are not for individual, others are. I have to keep it like that, otherwise I'm gonna suck at doing my work. So yeah, sorry to all the comments, but I have seen them and I'm grateful for them. And please do reach out to me personally if you are truly interested in a reading, and more specifically in like fair exchange. You know what I mean? I want to remind everybody seeking consultation or seeking anything from anyone, honestly. Unfortunately, on the 3D level that we are living right now, it has to be transactional. So if you're interested in something, you have to be willing to invest something. If you want something for free, then you can expect to get back something for free. You know what I mean? Something worth free. Do you get what I mean? So just to put that out there, yeah, I'm trying to, we all, I think, have to really rework our personal relationship with worth. Just to randomly throw that one in. Anyway, I think I'm done. Thank you so much for being present for this. I will